Sorry, I was driving and I think you can see the phone number of the calling.
Και δεν σε κάνουν μέσα, μάθημα.
Βάλουμε όλο και γυρίσουμε πάνω. Πολύ ωραία. Φέρνε λίγο πολύ. Το κόλλο πιο εύκολο από αυτό. τελείωσε. Να πάρε πέρα και πέρα. Α, για να μην πάει στη μέση. Ναι, σωστά. Αλλά αυτός χωρίς, θα φύγει μετά. Για να δω. Μα το τέλος δεν είναι τόσο μακρύ. Δεν είναι. Όχι, εντάξει. Δηλαδή δεν σου πω.
Such deeds are done, and hope heaven's bolts to shun. If sin like this to honor can aspire, why dance I still and lead the sacred choir? Okay, so this is the moment. That's all right. If before all God's truth be not made plain, O Zeus, reveal thy might, King, if
Με ρώτησε, είσαι ελεύθερη εφημερίδα. Δεν έχω καμιά δουλειά στο θέμα αυτά. Έλα εδώ να δεις. Ελία. Φοβορέ! Φοβορέ! Λίγο στο πλάι. Εντάξει.
Στην Αθήνα δεν έχουν Ελενική.
I don't know what your leanings are. I hope. Yeah. He is. He is.
Ευλογητός ο Θεός ημών πάντοτε νικιαεί και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Ο Θεός των Πατέρων, ο ποιον αημεθυμών, κατ' την συνεπίκιαν μη αποστήσεις του ελιός σου εφημών, αλλά τες αυτόν εκεσίες, εν ειρήνη κυβέρνησον την ζωήν ημών. Δόξα Πατρί και Υιό και Υιό Πνεύματι, την ίγκαια ή και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Αμήν. Παναγία Θεοτό και Παρθένε, των χειρών ημών τα έργα κατεύθυνον και συγχώρησιν των πνευμάτων ημών έτησε, εν το ψάλιν ημάς των αγγέλων των ύμνων. Άγιος ο Θεός, Άγιος ισχυρός, Άγιος αθάνατος ελέησον ημάς. Holy God, Holy mighty, Holy immortal, have mercy on us.
Άγιος ο Θεός, Άγιος ισχυρός, Άγιος αθάνατος ελέησον ημάς.
Δόξα Πατρί και Υιό και Αγίου Πνεύματι, και νυν και αεί και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Αμήν. Holy immortal, have mercy on us. Δυνάμεις. Άγιος ο Θεός, Άγιος ισχυρός, Άγιος αθάνατος ελέησον ημάς. Πρόσκομε.
Συλλέξεται άνθρωπος επί το έργον αυτού και επί την εργασία αυτού έως εσπερός.
Σοφία.
Ευλόγη η ψυχή μου των Κύριων.
Πρόσκομε.
Προς Θεσσαλονίκης, Δευτέρας επιστολής Παύλου το ανάγνωσο.
Πρόσκομε.
Αδελφοί, παραγγέλλομεν ημίν εν ονόματι του Κυρίου ημών Ιησού Χριστού, στέλεσθε ημάς από παντός αδελφού, ατάκτος περιπατούντος, και μη κατά την παράδοσιν ειν παρέλαβον παρημών. Αυτή γαρίδατε πως δημιμίστε ημάς, ότι ουκ κοιτακτήσαμεν ημίν, ουδέ δωρεάν άρτον εφάγομεν παράτινος, αλλά εν κόπο και μόχθο νύχτα και ημέραν, εργαζόμενοι προς το μη επιβαρύσε την αημούν. Ουχότι ότι ουκ έχομεν εξουσίαν, αλίνα εαυτούς τύπων δόμεν, ημίν εις το μιμήστε ημάς, και γαρ, ότι ημεν προς ημάς, τούτο παραγγέλλομεν ημίν, ότι ήτις ου θέλει εργάζεστε, μη δε εστιέτο. Ακούομεν καρτινάς περιπατούντας εν ημίν ατάκτος, μη δεν εργαζομένους, αλλά περιεργαζομένους. Της δέτιούτης παραγγέλλομεν και παρακαλούμεν δια του Κυρίου ημών Ιησού Χριστού, εινά μετα ησυχίας εργαζόμενοι των εαυτών άρτων
Ειρήνηση των ανόντι και παντί το λαό. Αλληλούια, αλληλούια, αλληλούια. Σοφία ότι ακούσαμε του Αγίου Ευαγγελίου, ειρήνη πάση.
Και το πνεύματι σου.
The reading is from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew.
Δόξα σοι, Κύριε, δόξα σοι.
The Lord told the following parable. A man going on a journey called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also, who had the 2 talents, came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also, who had received the 1 talent, came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not winnow. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sowed, and gather where I have not winnowed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him, and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who will more be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. As he said this, he cried out, He who has ears to hear, let him hear.
Glory to you, O Lord, glory to you.
And Elliniki to Kyriou Amen.
Kyrie eleison.
For the peace from above and for the salvation of our souls, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Υπέρ της ειρήνης του σήμαντος κόσμου, ευσταθίας των Αγίων του Εκκλησιών και της των πάντων ενώσεως του Κυρίου δεηθωμέν. For Archbishop Demetrios, the Honorable Presbytery, the Diacon in Christ, and all the clergy and the laity, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Υπέρ του Αγιεστήνε του είδωρ τούτο, τη δυνάμει και την ενεργεία και επιπληκτής του Αγίου Πνεύματος, του Κυρίου δεηθωμέν.
Kyrie eleison.
That abundant divine grace may be sent down upon our works. Let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Υπέρ του γενέσει των Θεών ημών συνεργών και αντιληπτουρά, εν εις κατά των Θείων αυτού φωτισμών πράττομεν αγαθής του Κυρίου δεηθωμέν.
Kyrie eleison.
For our deliverance from all distress, anger, danger, and war, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Ότι πρέπει σοι πάσα δόξα τιμή και προσκύνησης του Πατρί και του Αγίου Πνεύματι, νύχια ή και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων.
Αμήν.
Ειρήνη πάση.
Και το πνεύματι σου.
Let us bow our heads to the Lord. Incline your ear, O Lord, and hear us. You accept to be baptized in the Jordan and sanctify the waters. Bless all of us who through the bowing of our heads express our obedience to you. Grant that we may be filled with your sanctification through the drinking and sprinkling of this water, and may it bring us, O Lord, health of soul and body. Σιγάρ ο αγιασμός των ψυχών και των σωμάτων ημών και εσύ τη δόξα και ανευχαριστίαν και αναπροσκύνησεν απέμπομεν συν του ράχου του Πατρί και του Παναγίου και του Ξοποιού σου πνεύμα την ίνκια και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Του Κυρίου δεηθόμεν.
Kyrie eleison.
Δέσποτα Κύριε Ιησού Χριστέ ο Θεός ημών, ουαρήτω φιλανθρωπία του γέρος των ανθρώπων επισκεψάμενος και πάση της διωμένης σου, την συνευλογία επιχορηγήσας. Σου διώμεθα σε παρακαλούμεν, έπιδε και νυν, επί τους δούλους σου, τους εργαζομένους εν το έργο τούτο, εν το κράτη της ισχύου σου, τραπήνε εις εργασίαν προσπορισμών και ευλόγησον αυτούς, τε και τα έργα αυτών, τήρησον αυτήν, ανεπηρέωστον αυτούς επηρεάστους, παντός κακού, επί ψηλεύουν αυτής, τε και της εντάφτα εργαζομένης ειρήνη, αγάπην, ομόνιαν και δικαιοσύνη. Πάρεχε της δούλης σου τούτης, πλούσια τα ελέη σου και κατεύθυνε τα διαβήματα αυτών εις πανέργων, ότι ο Θεός ελέος εκτερμών και φιλανθρωπίας υπάρχεις και εσύ την δόξα να επέμπομεν το Πατρί και του Αγίου Πνεύμα την ίνκια ή και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Σώσον Κύριε τον λαό σου και ευλόγησον την κληρονομία σου. Νίκας της βασιλεύση κατά βαρβάρων δωρούμενος και τόσων φυλάτων δια του σταυρού σου πολίτευμα.
Σώσον Κύριε τον λαό σου και ευλόγησον την κληρονομία σου. Νίκας της βασιλεύση κατά βαρβάρων δωρούμενος και τόσων φυλάτων δια του σταυρού σου πολίτευμα. Σώσον Κύριε τον λαό σου και ευλόγησον την κληρονομία σου. Νίκας της βασιλεύση κατά βαρβάρων δωρούμενος και τόσων φυλάτων δια του σταυρού σου πολίτευμα. Σώσον Κύριε τον λαό σου και ευλόγησον την κληρονομία σου. Νίκας της βασιλεύση κατά βαρβάρων δωρούμενος και τόσων φυλάτων δια του σταυρού σου πολίτευμα.
Σώσον Κύριε τον λαό σου και ευλόγησον την κληρονομία σου. Νίκας της βασιλεύση κατά βαρβάρων δωρούμενος και τόσων φυλάτων δια του σταυρού σου πολίτευμα.
Σώσον
Κύριε τον λαό σου και ευλόγησον την κληρονομία σου. Νίκας της βασιλεύση κατά βαρβάρων δωρούμενος και τόσων φυλάτων δια του σταυρού σου πολίτευμα.
You want to say it in English, it's in the book.
Save, O Lord, your people, and bless your inheritance. Grant victory to the faithful against the adversaries of the faith, and protect your people by the sign of your holy cross.
ευχών των Αγίων Πατέρων ημών, Κύριε Ιησού Χριστέ ο Θεός, ελέησον και σώσον ημάς. May the grace of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ abide with each and every one of you and give you peace of heart and mind and soul through the intercessions of the three hierarchs, Basil, Gregory, and John Chrysostom. Η χάρις του Κυρίου και Θεού Χριστού του Σεμαρασιού επισκέσει πάντα σε μας της Μεσητείας των τριών ιεραρχών του Αγίου Βασιλείου, του Αγίου Γρηγορίου, του Αγίου Ιωάννου του Χρυσοστόμου. God bless you all, and may this be a special day in the life of American Hellenism in America. I am amazed at the volunteer service that comes here. I serve at the chapel and I come up during the week time, and there are people from all over Connecticut who come and work and made this magnificent project a reality. Ο Θεός σας ευλογεί πάντα με υγείαν, ευτυχίαν και μακροζωίαν. God bless you. Ναι. Ευλογία. Κυρίου. The man who had the dream has come to fruition. Ο Θεός
Welcome, everyone. It's a beautiful day. The sun is out. It's 80 degrees. The sun will always shine on this edifice. Thank you, Father Simonis.
God bless.
And thank you for serving our youth here.
Thank you.
You know, everyone talks about athletics at UConn. Jim Calhoun won 3 championships, the miracle of Calhoun. This is the miracle. This is our Holy Trinity. These are our 3 championships. The first edifice, the first Greek Orthodox church on a college campus, to our left. Hellenic Studies program, number 2, to our left. And this beautiful edifice and testament to Hellenism right here. Unbelievable. This is our Holy Trinity. We don't need a microphone. We know about the acoustics. I can remember many decades ago, many semesters ago, when I took my first class at UConn, and this professor, it was in dramatic arts, and he talked about the greatest amphitheater in the world, and he pronounced it Epidaurus. And I couldn't wait for class to end to tell him it's Epidavros. And that's why we're here. And we would love to have you seated around us, but right now we feel everyone's warmth, we feel everyone's love, we feel everyone's pride, as if you were next to us. We're very honored to be in the heart of UConn. And when we think many decades of cooperation that UConn has extended, the first professor was a Professor Castine, and every professor since, right up to today, Professor Susan Herbst. We remember the many UConn professors that made this possible, people like Dr. John Vlandis. And this is a moment to celebrate that relationship with a wonderful institution. To that end, we would ask former Professor Phil Austin to say a few words. Former President, I'm sorry I knew that. Mr. Austin to say a few words. He is a true Philhellene, Professor Austin.
Well, I'm delighted to be here to welcome all of you. I emphasize that I am a former president, not the current, but I know she would agree with everything that I say. This wonderful project has been in the works for a long time. And the 11 years that I was president, I spent a good deal of time with my dear friends Elias Neofytides particularly, and several others around, for precisely the reasons that were mentioned, so that all of our students, not simply our students of Greek descent, will have a place to celebrate their heritage, but all others will learn of it. I thank all of you who have worked so hard and diligently to do this, not only for yourselves, but for our students, and for the citizens of this state. I assure you that the University of Connecticut will treat it with great affection, great support, and will continue to cherish the relationship. Thank you very much.
We're honored with the presence of many dignitaries from Connecticut, from the United States, and from afar. And we hope to recognize all of them for a few words and advance apologies if we miss someone. We know that this was a team effort and that this would not have been possible without the effort of so many. I would ask Elias Neofytides, who was the president of the Hellenic Organization of Tourism, to say a few words. Your preference.
Γεια σας. Ήρθα από την Ελλάδα για να δω αυτό το αριστούργημα που τελείωσε σήμερα. Ξεκίνησα μαζί με τον Ηλία τον Μάζο στο ίδιο σχολείο από 13 χρονών. Τελειώσαμε το ίδιο σχολείο στο Βενετόκλειο Γυμνάσιο της Ρόδου. Ήρθαμε και οι δύο στην Αμερική, βρεθήκαμε εδώ και το 1978 μαζί με άλλους συμφοιτητές μας ξεκινήσαμε τη μεγάλη προσπάθεια για να δημιουργήσουμε το Hellenic Society Paidia. Έναν οργανισμό ο οποίος... Ξεκινήσαμε, λέω, έναν οργανισμό, ένα σύλλογο μάλλον, ο οποίος έμελε να γίνει αυτό που βλέπετε σήμερα και που αυτό είναι μόνο η αρχή. Είναι μόνο η αρχή, διότι πάνω απ' όλα έχουμε εθνική συνείδηση του ελληνισμού, έχουμε την άποψη ότι είμαστε άνθρωποι οικουμενικοί και ο πολιτισμός ανήκει σε όλους, αλλά κυρίως το θέατρο που είναι ταυτισμένο με την αρχαία Ελλάδα, που είναι ταυτισμένο με την κληρονομιά την ελληνική, είναι αυτό που έρχεται σήμερα μετά από το άγαλμα της ελευθερίας να δώσει την έκφραση της ελευθερίας του λόγου. Γιατί υπάρχει ελευθερία του λόγου από αυτό το πράγμα, από το θέατρο. Και όπως ξέρετε, στην αρχαία Ελλάδα, στο Χρυσό αιώνα, οι άνθρωποι, οι πλούσιοι πλήρωναν για να μπουν μέσα οι φτωχοί. Μπορεί να μην είχαν να αγοράσουν κρεμμύδια, αλλά έπρεπε να δούνε θέατρο. Σήμερα λοιπόν που το θέατρο είναι ο πολιτισμός, που είναι η έκφραση του ελεύθερου λόγου, βρίσκει πραγμάτωση σε αυτό το πολιτιακό πανεπιστήμιο, στο Πανεπιστήμιο του Connecticut, με την φιλοξενία και το άνοιγμα που έχει σε όλες τις κουλτούρες και σε όλους τους πολιτισμούς, να δούμε σήμερα εδώ στη μικρή πόλη του Στόρς να περπατάει μέσα από το θέατρο η ίδια η ελευθερία, το ίδιο το όραμα των μεγάλων ιδεών. Πίσω από αυτό υπήρχε πάντα ένας εμπνευστής, ένας άνθρωπος που ήταν ο δημιουργός, ο χτίστης, ο Ηλίας ο Τομάζος, και τον συμμαθητή μου τον συγχαίρω και τον αγαπώ. Ευχαριστώ όλους.
Supreme President John Grossmanides of the Order of AHEPA was unable to attend, and he feels the pride that all of us feel at today's accomplishment. And I would ask Jack Isaacs, the District Governor of the Order of AHEPA, to say a few words, please.
Thank you, Governor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to be here today representing the Order of AHEPA. For those of you who may not know, AHEPA, the American Hellenic Educational Progressive Association, is a fraternal organization which had its roots in Atlanta, Georgia some 90 years ago in response to bigotry and prejudice that were being done against the newly arrived Greek immigrants. Well, in those 90 years, AHEPA has had an exponential growth in membership. Today, we are
the largest Greek American organization in the world. We have some 17,000 members, representing hundreds of chapters in America, Canada, Europe, New Zealand, and Australia. We share many of the same ideals and goals as Elias does here at Paidia. If I may digress for a moment, I've just had a funny feeling being here today because we're in a political season. And sometimes in the political season, we get some strange talk from politicians. We've been hearing some politicians from both sides of the aisle speak against immigrants. They're talking about building electrical fences. They're talking about breaking up families and sending them back. I would say to those politicians, come here and see what Greek immigrants have done. Today, the Greek immigrant has transformed himself into this situation. Today, Greeks in America are #1 in terms of post-high school education. They are #2 in terms of per capita income. We came from humble beginnings, but it is now Greek time. Elias, I would just like to end this today by telling you something that I read recently. I recently read the epitaph of a great early American educator, Horace Mann. And his epitaph read as follows: "Be ashamed to die until you have won a victory for humanity." Elias, Paidia is your victory for humanity. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. AHEPA is with you in all of your work. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
May I introduce George Carvelis for a couple words on behalf of chapter number 98, the Order of AHEPA, New Haven, Connecticut, St. Barbara's. George, would you like to make a presentation to Elias, please?
I have a presentation. Before, Elias, I give this to you, I would like to say a couple of words. Many years ago, we had the honor and pleasure of meeting Elias. We started a small project, as with many of you, in Hartford, Connecticut, where we took the words Greek Independence Day before the Assembly. And the Assembly said, no, you cannot have Greek independence in the same line for an Independence Day for March 25th. With the help of Elias, the Greek community, and the AHEPA, we hosted an evening there where there were more Greek Americans cooking and feeding the entire assembly. The next day, and many of you know because we cut the pieces of pasticcio in half and the moussaka in quarters to feed the entire assembly. The following day, we went back there because they would only give us Greek Independence Day if we called it Greek Freedom Day. All of our literature was printed, all of the posters were done with Greek Freedom Day. We had to accept it. The following day, after that turnout, and they saw the family of Greeks, they allowed us to change it, and we got Greek Independence Day as a law in the state of Connecticut to be celebrated on March 25th at the Capitol with the flag flying over the Capitol. And I thank the Yanaras who made things like that possible. And today we come here, and I thought that was monumentous. Today we come here, and we are a witness, and we are all part of a piece of history. This is not a temporary facility. This facility is going to last for your grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren to come and see and be part of. And I am proud to be associated with Elias and the RJ. On behalf of New Haven Chapter 98, I can't say enough.
As I indicated, we have visitors from afar, and we're very proud to introduce the president of the University of Athens, Theodosius Pellegrinis. Karikolo.
Νιώθω ιδιαίτερη συγκίνηση που είμαι ανάμεσά σας, εκπροσωπώντας το αρχαιότερο πανεπιστήμιο στον τόπο μας, το Πανεπιστήμιο Αθηνών. Αυτή η συγκίνηση οφείλεται κυρίως σε δύο λόγους. Ο πρώτος είναι ότι είμαστε εδώ για να εγκαινιάσουμε ένα θέατρο, αυτό που βρισκόμαστε τώρα, το οποίο αποτελεί δείγμα του τι είναι ο Έλληνας και στη χώρα μας και έξω. Είναι ο άνθρωπος ο οποίος αγωνίζεται να φτιάξει τη ζωή του, αλλά παράλληλα κοιτάει και παραπέρα πώς θα κάνει την κοινωνία του καλύτερη. Αυτό πάντοτε ίσχυε και θα πω μια μικρή ιστορία, πολύ σύντομη, για το πώς χτίστηκε το Πανεπιστήμιο Αθηνών. Δεν το έκτισε αυτό το κτίριο που βλέπετε εκεί στην Πανεπιστημίου το κράτος. Ξεκίνησε από τη συνεισφορά απλών ανθρώπων. Είναι χαρακτηριστικό ότι στα μέσα του προπερασμένου αιώνα, τότε που επρόκειτο να χτιστεί το κτίριο αυτό, βρέθηκε ένας ζητιάνος, ονόματι Όκας, από το Μέτσοβο, και στη τσέπη του παλτού του ένα χρυσό νόμισμα με το σημείωμα για τον έρανο του Πανεπιστημίου Αθηνών. Αυτό μαθεύτηκε και παρακίνησε και άλλους απλούς ανθρώπους να συνεισφέρουν. Κατά τρόπο ανάλογο, βλέπω ότι αυτό το κτίριο, αυτό το κτίσμα του θεάτρου το οποίο βρισκόμαστε εδώ, είναι προϊόν εθελοντικής δουλειάς. Και ο δεύτερος λόγος είναι ότι είναι ένα θέατρο. Το θέατρο, όπως ελέγχθη προηγουμένως, αποτελεί ένα βασικό παράγοντα για να γίνουμε καλύτεροι. Είναι χαρακτηριστικό ότι ένα θέατρο αξίζει από τη στιγμή που θα βγούμε καλύτεροι από όσο θα μπούμε μέσα. Όπως η επιστήμη, η φιλοσοφία, το θέατρο είναι οι παράγοντες εκείνοι που οδηγούν σε αυτό που ονομάζουμε αριστεία, να γίνουμε καλύτεροι άνθρωποι. Και με αυτή την έννοια, κύριε Πρόεδρε, στο πρόσωπό σας θέλω να εκφράσω την ευγνωμοσύνη όλων μας για αυτό που κάνατε εδώ. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
There was an allusion to the great cooperation that all Greek Americans and Paidia specifically have received throughout the state of Connecticut from our political leaders. And that is due primarily to the great efforts of Dimitrios Yiannoudas, a former state representative. He has been so integral in opening the doors for Paidia, and Mr. Scarvellis made reference to that. And we're honored by his presence. We would ask him to say a couple words.
Thank you, Father, and all of my friends from all around the U.S. and beyond that, even Greece. Ευχαριστούμε. Δεν είναι ένα θαυμάσιο αυτό, πραγματικό θαύμα, τι νομίζετε? Αυτός ο Ηλίας ποτέ δεν θα μπορέσουμε ποτέ να φανταστούμε πού θα φτάσει. Είναι πραγματικά κάτι που δεν μπορώ να το εξηγήσω, να σας πω στα ελληνικά. I am so happy to be here to see this edifice, this theater, be completed. And as I mentioned a long time ago when I first talked about the center next door and the church, I said at that time, the center and the church are representing the columns of Hellenism in Connecticut and the U.S. Not only do we have the real columns of Hellenism behind us, but it is truly this cultural center and the theater and what goes with it is really truly the columns. They are the columns of Hellenism for us and for our children and for the generations to come. I'm really so happy to be here on this occasion and be part of this celebration. What a glorious day. What a glorious day to be here to celebrate this conclusion here of the theater and the opening ceremonies. In lieu of that, I'm not going to take any more time. I have been involved with Paidia for a long time, way back when it was initially founded, and I have followed through every accomplishment led by Elias Neofytides and his wife Maria, who's a wonderful lady. And of course, the board members of the Hellenic Cultural Study have been truly dedicated to the cause. But as I said, I'm not going to take any more time, but one thing that I will do is I will present a check that I've written for $5,000 to Mr. Elias Neofytides, and the only reason that I mentioned the amount is because I want to entice all of you to make a contribution. Whether it's for $5, $100, $1,000, we'll even take $1 million, by the way, if you have it. But this particular theater here cost over $1 million with a lot of donated effort and work, and there's still work to be done. So please, if you can, make a contribution. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dimitrios. This happens because of many positive reasons. It's the time of the UConn students who come here and paint and sweep. It's the talent of people who had the vision, and it's treasury also. And all three of those T's together represent the T of the word team. So every donation will be appreciated today. To that end, I am the president of the Hellenic Bar Association of Connecticut, and the mission of Paidia dovetails with the Greek lawyers of Connecticut, the quest for liberty, the freedom of expression expressed in the amphitheater, the ability for all people to be able to express their ideas, whether popular or unpopular, the ability to herald the accomplishments of Greek Americans. So this is a very modest donation to this wonderful gentleman. Our next guest is Paul Kotrotsios, who is the president of the Hellenic American National Council, another wonderful pan-Hellenic organization, such as the Order of Ehepa, that does so much to promote Hellenism. Paul.
It is indeed an honor to be here today, ladies and gentlemen, to witness this magnificent ergon by Elias Neofytides. Congratulations to Elia, his wife, his family, all his friends, and all the contributors that are still contributing to his ergon. The Hellenic American National Council today donates $1,000 towards the completion of this theater, and we promise in the next 6 months to host with all the federations, and I have some presidents here today, a big fundraiser, a big dinner, and all the money, all the proceeds will go towards the completion of this theater. Φίλες και φίλοι, Είναι μια μέρα ξεχωριστή για τον ελληνισμό σήμερα και χαίρομαι που σαν πρόεδρος του Εθνικού Συμβουλίου βρίσκομαι μαζί σας, αλλά και να μην ήμουνα θα ήμουνα εδώ, γιατί με τον Ηλία τον Τομάζο μας συνδέει πολύχρονη φιλία και πολύχρονη συνεργασία σε πάρα πολλά επίπεδα. Τον συγχαίρω γιατί η δύναμη της ψυχής του και της θέλησής του για το όραμα του ελληνισμού να προχωρήσει λίγο παραπέρα δεν είναι μόνο σε λόγια, είναι και σε έργα. Το βλέπουμε άλλωστε αυτό σήμερα. Ο Ηλίας χρειάζεται τη συνδρομή όλων μας και πρέπει να την έχει. Σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Να είστε καλά.
I guess my favorite Elias story is many years ago, I came up here in the middle of February on a frigid stores night, and anyone who went to UConn knows what a frigid Saturday evening in February in stores is with the wind blowing. And I came here for a basketball game. Gamble Pavilion had just opened. And I was with a few friends, and they had heard about the church at that time, and it wasn't open yet. And we said, let's go by, and I'll show it to you. And it was 7 o'clock, dark, cold, and we pulled in the parking lot, and way in the background I heard bang, 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 a hammer. And somebody was on the roof all by themselves on Saturday night in the middle of February, and you could guess who that was, Elias. And somewhere, that is something I'll never forget. I'd like to introduce Nina Gatsuli, who is the supreme president of all Pan-Macedonian organizations. Coordinator. I gave her a promotion.
And past president.
And past president.
Dr. Tomazos, distinguished guests, friends, today all Macedonians around the globe feel honored. In addition to Macedonia Paidia Center, a theater in the campus of Connecticut University is being named after the most known Macedonian of all times, Alexander the Great. After all, it is appropriate because Alexander is not only known for his military genius, but being born in an era of petty tyrants and brutality, he used the exceptional education he received from his teacher Aristotle to marshal his troops in nearly impossible military campaigns in the East. Throughout his life, Alexander carried with him a copy of the great poem, the Iliad, which told of the deeds of Achilles. Greek language was a tool that Alexander the Great wielded with great purpose. Prior to the expansion of his empire, there were hundreds of little-spoken languages. When he spread the use of Greek, it created a common language that fostered the expansion of culture and commerce throughout his vast kingdom. In fact, Alexander's reign marked the beginning of a new era known as the Hellenistic Age because of the strong influence that Greek culture had on other people. Without Alexander's ambition, Greek ideas and culture might well have remained confined to Greece. Again, I will reiterate and affirm it is proper and right for the theater next to Paidia Macedonia Center, where the Greek language is taught, to be named after Alexander the Great. Thank you, Dr. Tomazos.
And I'll get this right. The next speaker is the president of the Pan-Macedonian organization, Kostas Hadjistafanidis.
The Alexandrian Amphitheater is a jewel of civilization destined to promote ancient Greek spirit of philosophy and the arts. Professor Tomazos couldn't have chosen a better place to build a theater where young minds can absorb the beauty of the plays. Supervising and planning the construction of the Alexander Amphitheater must have been an immense job besides attending to your academic duties. It is an honor to have the amphitheater dedicated to Alexander the Great, and it's also quite fitting. Just as Alexander the Great set light and order on ancient civilization, this amphitheater will set artistic light on the academic community and become a beacon of the arts at the University of Connecticut. A miraculous effect of the amphitheater is that a person sitting in the furthest seat can hear a pin drop in the center of the stage. We know that the addition of this amphitheater feels its presence because it's such an important piece of architecture. Here, the students attending the UConn will be able to feel what it was like in the ancient times of Socrates and Aristotle. They will be inspired to learn more about a culture that may not have been their own. The stage of the amphitheater will also be the stage of where the history of Greece will spread to minds never touched before. This wondrous professor and his accomplishment will be forever enter into the Greek American homogeneous history. We'll not soon forget about this great addition to our growing culture. Thank you very much, Professor.
Numerically, Greek Americans are small. Accomplishment-wise, we are large. And it's essential that we herald our accomplishments, that the world knows what transpired here today. And our voice is the National Herald. We're honored to have the editor of the National Herald, Theodore Kalmoukis, who would like to say a couple words.
Θα μιλήσω στα ελληνικά βέβαια, γιατί εδώ είναι ελληνικός τόπος. Είναι ο οίκος του ελληνισμού. Μόνο μια κουβέντα. Εις ανήρ ζήλο πεπυρωμένος, ολόκληρον μεταστρέψε δήμον. Με άλλα λόγια, αρκεί ένας άνθρωπος με φλόγωση ψυχής να είναι ικανός να μεταμορφώσει και μεταστρέψει μια ολόκληρη πόλη. Αυτός ο άνθρωπος είναι ο καλός φίλος Ηλίας Θωμάζος. Ο Ηλίας Θωμάζος, με τον οποίο γνωριζόμαστε από μικρά παιδιά πολλά χρόνια πριν, έχει κάνει τόσα όσα δεν έχουν κάνει θεσμοί, αρχιεπισκοπές, μητροπόλεις, πατριαρχία, σύλλογοι, ιδρύματα κτλ. Αυτό το έργο, το μοναδικό έργο, και συνεχίζει. Και τον συγχαίρουμε και του λέγω κάθε φορά που τον τηλεφωνώ για κάποια συνέντευξη, όχι εμένα, πάρει κάποιον άλλον. Είναι ταπεινός άνθρωπος ο Ηλίας και τα θαύματα, αγαπητοί φίλοι, γίνονται από ταπεινούς ανθρώπους που πρέπει να έχουν και μια δόση τρέλας. Γιατί αυτό το πράγμα εδώ, μόνο με μια δόση τρέλας, με την καλή έννοια, μπορεί να γίνει.
I vowed I wasn't going to make any jokes about Greek time, so there'll be no jokes about that. We don't need to fear about the rain, because that'll be holy water, but we are reaching the pinnacle. The next speaker is someone who's representative of the generosity of so many. We couldn't acknowledge every benefactor, but we have one that we would like to step forward and take a bow, and that is my friend, an archon of the Ecumenical Patriarchate from Pittsburgh, a major benefactor in memory of his parents, I believe, his father. You heard his beautiful voice, so he brought many talents here. He brought the tea of treasury, and he brought the tea of talents. He was the Psalti. Nick Lucian from Pittsburgh. Nick.
I'm sure all of you that know Elias know one thing that he always says. When he's having trouble, Έχει ο Θεός. Well, the good Lord works in mysterious ways. He brought my daughter, Alyssa, here to Connecticut to study. So she told me about this man named Elias Neofytides that built a church on the campus, built a Greek studies hall on the campus, and now was starting an amphitheater. So I said I had to meet this man. So I came up to UConn. I introduced myself to Elias. I went back to the hotel and I told my wife, I'm in love with a man. And his name is Elias Neofytides. Elias has affected my life in many ways. And he reminds me very much of my own father. So I was so moved by all these accomplishments that I decided to give Elias a modest donation in memory of my father. And my father's favorite saying was, "Τα αγαθά κοπισκτώνται." And that's what we're seeing here. One more small thing. You know, Elias and I are patriotes from the island of Rhodes. Correct. The president of the Supreme President of the Pan-Rhodian Society couldn't be here today. I'm the Vice Supreme President. And I would like to extend my congratulations from your patriotes. And as Elias knows, we are involved with the Elias project at the Rhodos building at the University of Rhode Island. So congratulations to Elias, and I love you.
Thank you, Nick. Also noteworthy is the Pan-Gregorian Society of Connecticut, also known as all the Greek diners. And they take as much pride in their generosity and their philanthropia, their philanthropic endeavors, as they do for their bacon and eggs. They could not be here today, but I know from experience, having assisted them, that they have been major benefactors as well. And a round of applause for all those diners is in order. Those gentlemen represent so much about America and Greek Americans. They work 24 hours a day. They care about their families. They may not be able to get to church on Sundays because they're working, but you know where their hearts are. Well, last but not least, again, I told my Elias stories. We all have them. Pulling up here, I came up for 80 miles an hour because I was at another function, worried I was going to be late. I guess I should have realized there's a little bit of Greek time. And I pull in, am I late? And I see the man that we're all so proud of in his jeans and his shirt with a shovel. And I just said, that's where I feel comfortable. Knowing that he's here, I have a daughter who's a sophomore here, knowing that he is watering her Hellenism, her orthodoxy, her faith, that I don't need to worry. I could stay back in New Haven and do my own thing, that she's in great hands. What more can we say? As Nick said, that we have someone watching over our future leaders here. His accomplishments speak for themselves. We're all here because of him, and I am extremely honored to say that he's been my friend for many, 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 many years. Our Elias, please come forward, and let's do the Axios thing again. Steve, would you start it?
Axios!
Axios!
Ξέρετε, εκείνο που θα ήθελα να πω σήμερα είναι ένα μεγάλο ευχαριστώ. ευχαριστώ στον Θεό, ευχαριστώ σε όλους σας και αυτή είναι η λέξη που νιώθω τώρα να πω, γιατί αυτό το πράγμα δεν θα μπορούσε να γίνει δίχως το θέλημα του Θεού, εάν δεν το ήθελε ο Θεός. Και αυτό πάντα λέω, όπως είπε και ο Νίκος, έχει ο Θεός. Και να μην φοβόμαστε. Όταν ξεκινούμε μεγάλα έργα, μην φοβόμαστε, γιατί δεν είναι δικά μας. Εμείς είμαστε μικροί ανθρώποι. Και τα δύνατα στους ανθρώπους είναι δυνατά στο Θεό. Και έτσι πάντα να έχουμε μπροστά τον Θεό. Και θυμάμαι πριν από χρόνια, ήταν μεγάλη εβδομάδα του 1977 και γύριζα το Connecticut για να βρω μερικούς καλούς συνεργάτες και να βάλουμε τα ελληνικά στο Ιούκα. Και πήγα στο Στάνφορντ και μίλησα τον ιερέα εκεί και μου είπε ποιο να διαλέξω από το Στάνφορντ. Και μου είπε το Χρήστο τον Παγκή, Ηλία. Και από τότε με τον Χρήστο είμαστε μαζί, είναι ο αντιπρόεδρος μας. Αλλά μου είπε όμως ο ιερέας και έναν άλλο πράγμα. Μου λέει, Ηλία, κάνε το σταυρό σου και μη φοβάσαι. Αυτό που ξεκινάς, λέει, ήθελα να τον εξηγήσω. Τι κάνουμε. Και τον εξήγησα. Λέει, Ηλία, αυτό που κάνεις είναι μεγάλη υπόθεση. Και $500 να σε δώσω, λέει, τώρα, είναι μια σταγόνα μέσα σε έναν κουβά. Αλλά θα σε πω, λέει, κάτι άλλο. Που 500 χιλιάρικο θα είναι πολύ μικρό. Το τι είπατε. Λέει, Ηλία, κάνε το σταυρό σου. Και έτσι αυτόν κάνουμε. Κάνουμε το σταυρό μας και γίνονται. Έχει ο Θεός. Αλλά εκείνο που θέλω να σας πω είναι ότι δεν θα μπορούσαμε να το κάναμε εάν δεν είχαμε φιλέλληνες σε αυτό το φιλόξενο πανεπιστήμιο. Δεν θα μπορούσαμε να το κάνουμε εάν δεν είχαμε προέδρους συνεχώς όλα αυτά τα χρόνια, όπως τον Τζαν Καστίν, όπως τον Φίλιπ Όστη, όλους τους πρόεδρους που είδαμε μέχρι τώρα. Εάν δεν είχαμε αυτούς τους φίλους, θα ήμασταν σταματημένοι. Και το λέω υπογραμμίζοντας την κάθε λέξη. Γιατί δεν είναι μόνο αυτοί που το θέλουν, έχει και άλλους που έχουν άλλες ιδέες. Και έτσι οι πρόεδροι των πανεπιστημίων μέχρι τώρα μας φερθήκανε πάρα πολύ καλά. Και θέλω να ξέρετε το πώς εμείς πήραμε αυτό το οικόπεδο. Το πήραμε το οικόπεδο από μια απλή επίσκεψη με τον Γιάννη τον Βλάντη, τον καθηγητή, που είναι τώρα στη Φλόριδα. Και πήγαμε στο γραφείο του Πριτάνεως. Και τον είπαμε, να θέλουμε και εμείς να κάνουμε αυτό και εκείνο. Θα θέλαμε να μας δώσετε ένα οικόπεδο για να κάνουμε μέσα το εκκλησάκι, το εκπαιδευτικό μας κτίριο και το θέατρο. Μέσα σε 5 λεπτά, ο Πρίτανης σηκώστηκε πάνω και μας έδωσε το χέρι του. Και είναι εδώ ο Πρίτανης του Πανεπιστημίου Αθηνών. Και είμαι σίγουρος ο κύριος Πρίτανης θα μου πει, Ηλία, σαν δύσκολο είναι εγώ ή οποιοδήποτε άλλος Πρίτανης στην Ελλάδα να σου δώναμε οικόπεδο μέσα σε 5 λεπτά. Κύριε Πρίτανη, είναι εύκολο. Και έτσι, εκείνο που θέλω να πω είναι ένα μεγάλο ευχαριστώ στην πολιτεία του Connecticut, στο State of Connecticut. Ένα μεγάλο ευχαριστώ. Γιατί αυτό που μας έδωσε είναι η αιτία, είναι η αρχή, είναι η βάση πάνω εμείς που χτίζουμε. Εάν δεν είχαμε αυτή την αγάπη, εάν δεν είχαμε αυτόν τον φιλελληνισμό από το State of Connecticut, από το University of Connecticut, εμείς αγαπητοί αδερφοί και αδερφές δεν θα ήμασταν σήμερα εδώ, όσο εγώ και να δούλευα και στις ψυχρές νύχτες του Ιανουαρίου και του Φεβρουαρίου που είπε ο φίλος μου ο Γρηγόρης, ό,τι και να κάναμε δεν θα μπορούσαμε να κάνουμε. Και έτσι ένα μεγάλο ευχαριστώ στο State of Connecticut. I would like to say that, sometimes with a few words we cannot express what we are feeling today. But what I would like to say also in English, that only thank you. Thank you to the State of Connecticut. Thank you to the University of Connecticut. Thank you to the presidents of the University of Connecticut. Everyone, every president, from the time we met John Castine up to now, they are with us. We have today with us, we have a great honor to have a great Felin, who is also a honorary citizen of Sparta, Greece. Είναι πολίτης στην Ελλάδα ο κύριος Πρίτανης. Και όλοι μας έχουν βοηθήσει όταν ήταν presidents, during the time they was in the office as a president, and also during the time they were not in their office. A few days ago we have a difficulty. There is no need to tell you what difficulty we face. But me and Foti, we were thinking that we have to call somebody to help us. And Fotis and me, we say, Philip Austin is the person, to call, to contact him. And we call him late in the afternoon. the time he was trying to go for dinner, and he make the telephone calls. I would like to thank him very much, Mr. President. You know, every person who makes the greetings before he's talking is, you know, about me. But I like to say, one man cannot do many things in this world, and you know that. So how we make this beautiful theater, how we make the chapel, how we make the building with volunteer work, with a little money. You know, everybody thinks that here we have millions. We don't have millions. We have just a few dollars we have only, but we have a agape. We have a love in our heart. Love for Greece, love for America, love for University of Connecticut, love for all our kids. And I like to say, for the students, if it was not for the students, maybe we'll have a great delays. Because every time we go to hit and bottom, you know, the students are the ones come and help us. So we wanted to make a beginning. Without a beginning, how to come to you, the parents and the friends, to say, please give us something if you don't make a beginning. And who are the ones all the time to make the beginning? The students. So the area we are here before used to be like a fortress. Many trees. And a subcontractor, the less expensive, needed $25,000 to clear the land. So the students and me, before the classes, after the classes, every weekend we come here, we make a picnic, and we clear the land. And we save $25,000. And now again was the end. We have so much painting for the building, to clean, and so many things. Who were coming every weekend? Τα παιδιά, the kids were coming every weekend. And I like to say, Megalo ευχαριστώ. I like to say how much I love these kids. For the time I remember, up to now. You know, I am very thankful to University of Connecticut for allowing me to be a teacher here. And you know, when you teach, you feel the kids like your own kids. And anything I say for the students at University of Connecticut is not too much. It's so many names to remember now. And so many students I remember. And I say, for the future of the Greek American community, for the future of America, it's very bright. It's very beautiful future because we have a very good kids. Thank you very much.
Elias. Repeat performance very briefly. I would ask Mr. Yanaros to come back. He wanted to say a couple more inspiring words. Dimitri, come forward.
Thank you. Πραγματικά οι στήλες του ελληνισμού είναι εδώ παρόν. Ζει η Ελλάδα εδώ και ο ελληνισμός. Ξέρεις, επειδή since I've been asked to say a couple things relating to the costs and what we need to do. What happens when you get elected 8 times and you have to ask people for money, and you're in public service, they claim that I'm used to asking for money. So I'm going to ask everybody to think very seriously about making some type of donation. But more importantly, I'm asked to announce that the first 4 rows is pure marble imported from Greece. And as you can imagine, it costs a lot of money to do that. So for anyone who's willing to make a 5,000 donation, you will have your name inscribed on one of these marble seats here. If anyone wants to make a donation of $2,500, you can have your name inscribed on the seats beyond the 4th row. Or if anybody wants to be a grand donee, a grandfather, as somebody mentioned, you can have your name inscribed on the wall here if you make a significant donation for the orchestra area that needs to be completed. It's not complete yet. So we ask, as I said before, $5, $100, $1,000, $5,000, or $1 million, or whatever. If we have a Bill Gates in the audience, we'd love to know who you are, by the way. But if anybody wants to make a pledge, you can just tell us your name, and Fotis, who is the secretary of Paidia, will make a note, and maybe you can see him after the ceremony. We would take if anybody is volunteering to give us your name now, we would love to have it. If not, he'll meet you also at the center. Anybody?
I do.
Do I see a hand up?
Yes, yes, please.
I see a hand up? Okay, we got one right here. Anybody else?
I do.
There's a second. 5,000 right there. 5,000. Bravo. Thank you. Anyone else? I know it's up. Oh, there's one more. Yes, please. Bravo. 5,000. Bravo. Now, of course, these are big donations, but we will accept smaller donations if anybody wants to make a commitment right now. 1,000. We have another 1,000. Did I see a hand up anywhere? All right, don't be shy. I'm not going to tell your friends or parents. Anybody else? Okay, I guess we will meet you at the cultural center. Okay? Thank you for coming. Thank you. Oh, there's one more over there. 1,000. 500. Thank you. Very soon.
And Chris, all the donors, would you come down for a photograph?
Yeah, if you're donating, please come down. We'll take a photograph, all of us.
Thank you again, and I'd like to ask Father Simonis to bless our journeys home.
Δόξα Πατρί και Υιό και Υιού Πνεύματι και νίκη αεί και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Η Παναγία Τριάς διαφυλάξει πάντα σε εμάς για τις μεσητείες των τριών ιεραρχών της Παναγίας της Θεοτόκου και πάντων των Αγίων. May the grace of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ come to abide upon every one of you through the intercessions of the three hierarchs and of the Theotokos, the Mother of God, and of all the saints. God bless.
Thank you, Father.
Μπορώ να έχω την προσοχή σας, παρακαλώ. Εάν μπορέσουμε να έχουμε λίγη ησυχία να συνεχίσουμε το πρόγραμμα, έχουμε κάνει μεγάλη καθυστέρηση και απολογούμεθα γι' αυτό. Με τον πρίτανη του Πανεπιστημίου Αθηνών, τον καθηγητή κύριο Θεοδόσιο Πελεγκρίνη, ο οποίος θα μας μιλήσει για αριστεία. Κύριε Πελεγκρίνη, παρακαλώ.
Ακουγόμαι μέχρι τέλους. Ο κύριος Ηλίας Τομάζο, που είχε την καλοσύνη να με καλέσει, μου είπε ότι θα πρέπει να κάνω και μία σύντομη ομιλία. Και επέλεξα να μιλήσω για την αριστεία. Είπα και προηγουμένως στο θέατρο αυτό το υπέροχο κατασκεύασμα ότι το θέατρο σαν δραστηριότητα αξίζει γιατί μας κάνει καλύτερους ανθρώπους. Και δεν είναι τυχαίο ότι στα μεγαλύτερα επιτεύγματα των αρχαίων Ελλήνων ήταν η ανακάλυψη του θεάτρου. Διότι οι αρχαίοι ημών πρόγονοι έλεγαν ότι ο στόχος του ανθρώπου πρέπει να είναι η κορυφή. Ότι πρέπει οτιδήποτε και αν παθαίνεις να κοιτάς να γίνεις άριστος. Έτσι λοιπόν επέλεξα αυτόν τον όρο αριστεία και θα πω ορισμένα κλείνοντας για το τι συμβαίνει στη χώρα μας. Αριστεία είναι λέξη με την οποία χαρακτηρίζεται η συμπεριφορά του ανθρώπου που δρά έτσι ώστε να υπερβαίνει τον τρόπο με τον οποίο χειρίζονται συνήθως οι άνθρωποι τη ζωή τους. Πρότυπο αριστείας κατά τον Όμηρο είναι η συμπεριφορά του Διομήδη. Το γεγονός ότι ένας θνητός δεν διστάζει να συγκριθεί ακόμη και με τους θεούς, να πολεμήσει μαζί τους. Ο Δίας εκφράζει τη συμπάθειά του προς τον Διομήδη που προσπαθεί να ξεπεράσει τα ανθρώπινα όρια του. Σε άλλες περιπτώσεις, ωστόσο, η προσπάθεια του ανθρώπου να υπερβεί τα όρια της φύσης του χαρακτηρίζεται ως ύβρις και το πρόσωπο που την τελεί τιμωρείται από τον Θεό αμήλικτα. Ο Κρέον, λόγου χάρη, όταν εκδίδει η διαταγή πως όποιος αποπειραθεί να θάψει τον Πολυνίκη που πολέμησε εναντίον της πατρίδας του θα τιμωρούνταν αυστηρά, διαπράττει ύβριν, καθώς τολμά να αμφισβητήσει την ισχύ του νόμου του Θεού, σύμφωνα με τον οποίο ο νεκρός πρέπει να κυδεύεται με τις δέουσες τιμές. Η ύβρις κατά τον Κρέοντα να βάλει πάνω από τον νόμο του Θεού τη δική του ανθρώπινη διαταγή έχει ως αποτέλεσμα την πτώση του, την κατάρρευσή του. Αλλά και ο Ίκαρος, ο γνωστός Ίκαρος, δεν πλήρωσε την ύβριν του, το γεγονός ότι τόλμησε να πετάξει πιο ψηλά από όσο του επέτρεπαν οι δυνάμεις του, με αποτέλεσμα να λιώσουν τα κέρνα φτερά του και να καταποντιστεί στο πέλαγος. Ανοίγονται λοιπόν, κατά την αρχαία ελληνική γραμματεία, μπροστά στον άνθρωπο που τολμά να ξεπεράσει τα όρια του, δύο δρόμοι. Ο ένας είναι ο δρόμος της αριστείας, ο οποίος του εξασφαλίζει την καταξίωσή του. Ο άλλος είναι ο δρόμος της ύβρεως, που οδηγεί στην καταστροφή του ανθρώπου που υφίσταται την ύβρη. Αναλαμβάνοντας κανείς το εγχείρημα της υπέρβασης του πεπερασμένου εαυτού του, δεν ξέρει αν με την απόφασή του αυτή θα καταστεί άξιος της αριστείας και θα ευτυχήσει ή θα πέσει θύμα της ύβρεως και θα δυστυχήσει. Η σοφία των αρχαίων Ελλήνων, ωστόσο, επινόησε για τον άνθρωπο έναν τρόπο συμπεριφοράς τέτοιον που ακολουθώντας τον θα μπορούσε να του εξασφαλίσει τον έπαινο χωρίς να χρειάζεται να υπερβεί τον εαυτό του και να βρεθεί έτσι αντιμέτωπος με το τρομακτικό δίλημμα μεταξύ αριστείας και ύβρεως. Να επιλέγεις, αποφεύγοντας την υπερβολή, την μετριότητα. Μέτρον άριστον, έλεγε ο σοφός Κλεόβουλος από τη Ρόδο. Βρισκόμαστε κατά αυτά ενώπιον δύο διαφορετικών προτύπων συμπεριφοράς. Αφενός μεν εκείνου της διακίνδυνευσης, σύμφωνα με το οποίο ο άνθρωπος καλείται να υπερβεί τα όρια της πεπερασμένης φύσης του, προκειμένου να καταστεί άριστος, διατρέχοντας παράλληλα όμως τον κίνδυνο να γίνει υβριστής, αφετέρου δε εκείνου της σιγουριάς, την οποία εξασφαλίζει στον άνθρωπο η επιλογή του μέτρου. Τα δύο αυτά πρότυπα συμπεριφοράς καλλιεργήθηκαν στο πλαίσιο της αρχαίας ελληνικής γραμματείας. Στους κόλπους της ποίησης συγκεκριμένα προβλήθηκε μέσα από την γραφή των πράξεων ηρώων όπως ο Διομήδης ή ο Ίκαρος και τραγικών προσώπων όπως ο Κρέον, το πρότυπο της συμπεριφοράς που συγκίνησε στον άνθρωπο, το διακύβευμα της αριστείας με την ανάληψη εκ μέρους του της υπέρβασης της πεπερασμένης φύσης του. Το άλλο πρότυπο συμπεριφοράς που υπαγορεύεται από την επιλογή του μέτρου υποστηρίχθηκε στο πλαίσιο της φιλοσοφίας. Αναμφιβόλως, το πρότυπο συμπεριφοράς της φιλοσοφίας, σύμφωνα με το οποίο ο άνθρωπος καλείται να αποφεύγει την υπερβολή, εξασφαλίζει σε όσους το υιοθετούν έναν ήρεμο, ανώδυνο, βολικό βίο. Πόσοι όμως από αυτούς που βολεύτηκαν στην ασφάλεια του μέτρου μπόρεσαν να ξεχωρίσουν και να αποτελέσουν παράδειγμα αριστείας. Αντίθετα, άλλοι που ακολούθησαν την άλλη επιλογή, την υπερβολή, που υποδεικνύεται στους κόλπους της ποίησης, κατόρθωσαν να διατηρηθούν στη μνήμη της ιστορίας. Ακόμη όμως κι αν κάποιος, επιχειρώντας να ξεπεράσει τα όρια της πεπερασμένης φύσης του, οδηγηθεί προς την αντίθετη κατεύθυνση από εκείνη στην οποία στόχευε, αν αντί για την αριστεία και την ευτυχία που επιθυμούσε καταλήξει να γίνει θύμα της ύβρεως και δυστυχής, κάθε άλλο παρά και τότε ακυρώνεται η σκοπιμότητα του εγχειρήματός του. Ο πτερωθής λέει ο ποιητής για τον υβριστή Ίκαρο, κι αν έπεσε, από ψηλά έπεσε και θαλασσοθής απέθανε. Δεν πεθαίνει το ίδιο κανείς που πέφτει από ψηλά με κάποιον που σέρνε σε όλη τη ζωή πάνω στη γη σαν το σκουλίκι μέχρι να σαπίσει, τον μέτριο που δεν τόλμησε να κοιτάξει πάνω από το κεφάλι του. Θα ήθελα εδώ ακριβώς να πω τηρουμένο των αναλογιών, έχουμε ένα παράδειγμα ανθρώπου που ζητάει κάτι πέρα από τις δυνάμεις του, τον κύριο Ηλία Τομάζο, ο οποίος ακριβώς με μηδαμινές δυνάμεις ξεκίνησε να πραγματοποιήσει ένα όνειρο, αυτό το θέατρο που βλέπουμε. Δεν έχει σημασία πόσο μεγάλο θα είναι αυτό που θα κάνεις, αρκεί αυτό να είναι πιο πάνω από σένα. Και θα ήθελα να πω ακριβώς, αυτό είναι και το νόημα του χριστιανισμού. Θυμηθείτε τον Χριστό όταν πηγαίνει με το σταυρό να σταυρωθεί, που παρακαλεί τον Θεό να απέλθει από αυτόν το ποτήριο, να αποφύγει να σταυρωθεί. Ο Θεός σου λέει ότι πρέπει να συνεχίσεις, να κάνεις κάτι πέρα από σένα. Και πράγματι πήγε και σταυρώθηκε και θεώθηκε. Να αριστεύει, να έλεγαν οι προηγονοί μας. Πάντοτε να προσπαθείς, ξεπερνώντας τα όρια της πεπερασμένης ύπαρξής σου, να γίνεσαι σπουδαίος, έστω και αν αδιαλείπτως υπάρχει ο κίνδυνος, αντί για την αριστεία και την ευτυχία, να εισπράξεις τελικά την ύβρι και τη δυστυχία. Η άλλη επιλογή σου είναι να αποφασίσεις να ζήσεις μέσα στη σιγουριά του μέτρου, το οποίο μπορεί να σου εξασφαλίσει μια σταθερή, χωρίς ιδιαίτερες ανατροπές, ανώδυνη ως επιτοπολή ζωή, αλλά είναι αμφίβολο αν θα συντελέσει να σε θυμάται κανείς και να μιλήσει για σένα ποτέ. Θα ήθελα 2 λόγια, κύριε Τομάζο, ακόμα να πω. Η χώρα μας βρίσκεται σε μια βαθύτατη κρίση και κανένας δεν ξέρει αν θα βγει από αυτή. Όλοι θέλουμε να αισιοδοξούμε. Ένα από τα τραγικά κομμάτια αυτής της κρίσης είναι οι νέοι μας. Είναι αυτοί οι οποίοι τελειώνουν το πανεπιστήμιο, είναι άριστοι. Έχουν δεχτεί ακριβώς αυτή την πρόκληση, έχουν γίνει αυτό που είναι, διακινδυνεύοντας και κάνοντας άλλα πράγματα από τη ζωή τους. Αυτοί λοιπόν οι άριστοι, επειδή στη χώρα μας αυτόν τον καιρό δεν υπάρχει προοπτική, φεύγουν. Δίνουμε έτοιμη τροφή στους ξένους. Το να σπουδάσει σήμερα ένα παιδί στο πανεπιστήμιο είναι 4-5 χρόνια. Είναι λεφτά τα οποία ξοδεύει το ελληνικό κράτος για να πάρει αυτούς τους ανθρώπους σε ένα άλλο κράτος που δεν έχει ξοδεύσει €1 ή $1 να τους χρησιμοποιήσει. Υφιστάμεθα αυτό που υπέστη η Γερμανία στη δεκαετία του 50, όπου τα μεγάλα μυαλά, αυτά που σπούδαζαν, που πλήρωνε το γερμανικό κράτος, πήγαιναν στην Αμερική. Πρέπει αυτή η αιμορραγία να σταματήσει. Θα ήθελα να σας διαβεβαιώσω ότι το ελληνικό πανεπιστήμιο είναι ο μόνος θεσμός στη χώρα μας ο οποίος στέκεται όρθιος, όσο και αν του καταμαρτυρούν. Ο μόνος θεσμός. Ο μόνος θεσμός που πραγματικά παράγει. Δεν ξέρω τι παράγουν οι τράπεζες, τι παράγουν οι δικαστές, τι παράγουν τα υπουργεία. Το πανεπιστήμιο εκεί έχει αυτούς τους άριστους, οι οποίοι μπορούν να προσφέρουν. Και αυτό το πανεπιστήμιο πρέπει να στηρίξουμε και σε αυτή την κατεύθυνση εργαζόμαστε. Σας ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ κύριε Πρίτανη. Στη συνέχεια έχουμε τον καθηγητή του University of Connecticut, Ranger Travis, with his students. So Ranger, if you are here.
I'm Roger Travis from the Classics and Ancient Mediterranean Studies program in the Department of Literatures, Cultures, and Languages at UConn. I'm one of the people who pronounces Greek wrong. So I'll say kairete, which is my way of saying hello in ancient Greece, or in my ancient Greek. I'm going to quote Plato. I think it would be something in modern Greek pronunciation like achorevtos Paideutos. Choreitos Paideutos. A person who has not been in a chorus is uneducated. And so I managed to educate some of the wonderful students here at Paidia this morning. They were good enough to come in for a workshop in which we went through some selections from the amazing choral songs of Greek tragedy. We did a selection from Aeschylus, we did a selection from Sophocles. But the thing that we're going to present to you now is not actually originally in Greek. It is a send-up of Greek tragedy by the famous British classicist A.E. Housman. It's called Fragment of a Greek Tragedy. And if you have read any Greek tragedy recently, you'll get all of the jokes. But there are enough jokes in there making fun of drama in general and Greek tragedy in particular that I think it's going to be an enjoyable experience. So I'll invite the cast to come forward and I'll explain what the situation is, because it comes from a myth of Alcmaeon and Euryphile. Euryphile is going into the house over there. I don't know how many of you remember the incredible story of the Seven against Thebes. This is the war between the sons of Oedipus or Oedipus, the guy who found out that he killed his father and married his mother. And after he's gone, his two sons, remember I'm pronouncing this all wrong and I apologize. His two sons, Polynices and Eteocles, have a dispute over who is going to be king of Thebes. And they think they've resolved it, but it turns out that they didn't, and Polynices thinks he's going to go and start a war. Now, in order to do that, he unfortunately has to enlist the help of a guy named Amphiaraus, who's married to Euryphile, and they have a son named Alcmaeon, who is... Alcmaeon, okay. I guess that's the only place you can enter from, so fine. Okay. Their son Alcmaeon, and Amphiaraus is a straight shooter, truth-teller, prophet type, and he knows that the expedition of the Seven is doomed. But Polynices has an ace in the hole. He has the necklace of Harmonia, which was given to Cadmus's wife Harmonia by Aphrodite herself, which means, of course, that the owner of the necklace can convince his or her spouse, generally her spouse, to do whatever she wants him to do. And so he makes one of those promises that we all know from the Greek myths, that he will do anything, without knowing what the thing is. And so Euryphile, because she's so grateful to Polynices for the necklace, says, okay, you have to go and tell everybody that the expedition is going to be fine. And Amphiaraus goes, "Dome," the way you always do in a situation like that, and tells the king of Argos that yes, they all should go and try to attack Thebes, knowing in his heart the whole time that it's doomed. And it is doomed. The Seven against Thebes all die, and we get the Antigone situation that we know so well, Polynices lying unburied outside the walls of Thebes, while Eteocles is buried with honors, and Antigone has her dilemma and ends up doing the honorable thing, as we all know. But meanwhile, back home, Alcmaeon is unhappy because his mother Euryphile convinced Amphiaraus to go to his death. And in that wonderful logic of Greek tragedy and Greek myth in general, he decides that he has to kill his mother. And so the scene you're about to see is that. He is coming he's coming to Argos, and the chorus, led by the chorophios over here, the one who speaks for the chorus, he'll be doing the lines where the chorus speaks dialogue. Dimitri here is playing the chorophios, and the general chorus, in which I'll be included behind them, are worried that something bad is going to happen. And Alcmaeon comes in, Chorophios tries to figure out what he's doing there, and then finally sends him into the house, and then what happens, happens. And so I'll just ask my cast to be loud and clear if they possibly can. Remember that one gesture at the end, and we'll see what happens. Oh, I do want to say one more thing. I don't know how many people here remember Tom Suits, my wonderful, wonderful predecessor at UConn and the great friend of Elias. And I'm really pleased to say that it was his idea that we perform this today. And I feel like he's here in spirit because he is a man who enjoyed Greek tragedy and enjoyed a good joke in his amazingly genteel way. And he sends his best wishes to everyone. Okay, architect.
Oh, suitably attired in leather boots, head of a traveler, wherefore seeking whom, whence, by what way, how purposed art thou come to this well nightingale vicinity? My object in inquiring is to know, but if you happen to be deaf and dumb and do not understand a word I say, then wave your hand to signify as much.
I journeyed hither a Boeotian road,
Sailing on horseback or with feet for oars?
flying with speed, my partnership of legs.
Beneath a shining or a rainy Zeus?
Mud's sister, not himself, adorns my shoes.
To learn your name would not displease me much.
Not all that men desire do they obtain.
Might I then hear at why thy presence shoots?
A shepherd's questioned mouth, inform
What?
me that.
For I know not yet what you will say.
Nor will you ever if you interrupt.
Proceed, and I will hold my speechless tongue.
This house was Euripides, no one else's.
Nor did he shame his throat with shameful lies.
May I then enter, passing through the door?
Go, chase into the house a lucky foot, and O my son, be on the one hand good, and do not on the other hand be bad, for that is very much the safest plan.
I go into the house with heels and speed.
In speculation, I would not willingly acquire a name for ill-digested thought, but after pondering much, to this conclusion I at last have come: life is uncertain. This truth I have written deep in my reflective midriff on tablets not of wax, nor with a pen did I inscribe it there. For many reasons life, I say, is not a stranger to uncertainty. Not from the flight of omen-yelling fowls, this fact did I discover, nor did the Delphine tripod bark it out, nor yet Dodona. Its native ingenuity sufficed my self-taught diaphragm. Why should I mention the Enochian daughter loved of Zeus, her whom of old the gods, more provident than kind, provided with 4 hoofs, 2 horns, 1 tail, a gift not asked for, and sent her forth to learn the unfamiliar science of how to chew the cud. She therefore all about the Argive fields went cropping pale green grass and nettle tops, nor did they disagree with her. But yet, however nutritious such repasts, I do not hanker after. Never may Cyprus for her seat select my dappled liver. Why should I mention Io? Why, indeed? I have no notion why. But now does my boding heart, unhired, unaccompanied, sing a strain not meet for the dance. Yes, even the palace appears to my yoke of circular eyes, the right nor omit I the left, like a slaughterhouse, so to speak, garnished with woolly deaths and many shipwrecks of cows. I therefore in a Scythian strain lament, and to the rapid, loud linen tattering thumps upon my chest resounds in concert the battering of my unlucky head.
Oh, I am smitten with a hatchet's jaw, and that indeed am not we're alone.
I thought I heard a sound within the house, unlike the voice of one that jumps for joy.
He splits my skull, not in a friendly way. Once more, he purposes to kill me dead.
I will not be reputed rash, be I doubt if all be gay within the house.
Oh, another affixes the third. He stabs me to my heart against my wish.
If that be so, thy state of health is poor, but thine arithmetic is quite correct.
Thank you.
The program continues with Nicole Nosiopoulos, who Nicole will give us a poetry readings about Macedonia. And I'd like to say that Nicole is the daughter of our architect, Stefanos Nosiopoulos. Stephanie, can you get up to see our architect, everybody? I feel the need to say that Stefanos works for many years as an architect, and he never received even one penny, of course. And not only he never received any penny, but also sometimes he would put money from his pocket, making printing copies, from the architectural plans. So if we say to Stefanos, thank you, Stefane, it's very small. Stefane, ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ.
First, I want to start by thanking Elias for having me here. I've known him for quite some time. Can you hear me in the back? How about now? Is this better? Okay. So I want to thank Elias for having me here. I've known him for quite some time. I was actually a student of his 10 years ago. It was the first time I ever went to Greece. And I'm from half Greek, half Polish background, but I was raised pretty much within the Greek culture. My mom really strived to make sure to go to the Parthenon on the trips. I learned a lot, and pretty much without that initial travel to Greece, I don't think my book would have happened, because I'm very inspired by the landscape, and I was inspired to write about my family. So that's pretty much the premise of my book. It's called All the Dead Goats. There's a couple jokes in here, maybe you'll get them. I've never read for a Greek audience, I've always read for poets or writers, so I don't know if you're going to be more critical or less critical. I don't really know what's going to happen. One of my favorite Greek poets is Elias. Maybe some of you have heard of him. He's a famous Greek poet. And I'd like to start off from a short line from one of his poems. I very slowly took to setting words like gems to cover this country I love, lest someone see its beauty or suspect that maybe it does not exist. The first poem I'll be reading is called Return to the Hordio, and it's about the first time I went to Greece, but it's also a dream about my grandfather being able to visit the village after he passed away. In my grandfather's eye, I felt a little tremor break through him. Our village vanished into a remnant star. Sheepdogs divided, hundreds of goats across the hills. They were warriors bathed in sunlight. Deeper, I saw the outdoor kitchen, its old stove, empty pots, grains of Greek coffee unswept from the floor, bent spoons, an icon of Agios Stephanos above the sink. Could he see our Macedonian mountains, the violet sunset resting between the land shoulders, children dancing without shoes, the room my father was born in? The earth is not just one giant grave, not the filth of flies or the dirt of bones. This is our land, the